Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we got a lot of news to talk about. Haven't made a video in a few days, so we're going to try and catch up. So we're going to try and speed through this as quickly as possible, and we'll probably end on today's news that came out about Jarrell Miller. Let's start with this. Jarrell Boots Ennis has signed a deal to fight Virgil Ortiz for next year. Set to be in January. Eddie Hearn announced this. I think it's an amazing fight. I think it's a great fight. Jarrell Boots Ennis. I didn't know whether he was going to get an immediate shot at a title or whether they were going to just make him sort of have a dip your toes in fight, what they were going to do with him. I think this is a great fight. This will show what Jarrell Boots Ennis is all about in this new division. I thought Virgil Ortiz fought very, very well against Israel Madrimov, and I think we saw the best Jarrell Boots Ennis we've seen against Amantas Stanionis. So I think this will make for a very, very exciting contest. As far as predictions, I'm not even going to make one yet. It's very early. I will say one thing: they're both gonna test each other. I can see Jarrell Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz punishing each other in this fight. Joshua Buatsi will face Zach Parker in a light heavyweight fight at the Co-op Live Arena in Manchester on November 1st. I think that's a good fight. Obviously, Buatsi now changing allegiances from boxer. Gets another fight. I wouldn't say he disappointed. It was a disappointing result, but I thought he fought very, very well against Callum Smith. I do think Callum Smith won that. Buatsi was, I wouldn't say heavy favourite, but definitely the favourite going into that fight. And I actually thought Buatsi was going to win. They put on an absolute war, those two. It was a very, very entertaining fight. But I expect Buatsi to get back to winning ways. I did talk about this in a short the other day, but we're just going to recap it. Dmitry Bivol has undergone back surgery. We were in the mystery about this. I'm glad they came out with a statement, and it seems as though Dmitry Bivol, after the Beterbiev fight, was having a bit of problems with his elbow. They sorted the elbow out, but then a lingering back issue that he's been carrying started to deteriorate, and a doctor informed them that it would only get worse and worse and worse, so they decided to take action. He's successfully had the surgery, but now he's in rehab. It'll be 2, maybe more months before he's even back in the gym training, so I think that sorts out why we're seeing Beterbiev have a sort of stay busy fight. Alright, most valuable promotions have revealed that the WBC has ordered Katie Taylor to defend her undisputed super lightweight world title against Chantel Cameron. Yeah, I think it's a very good fight. I'm not sure what Katie Taylor's thinking about that, whether she's enticed by it, still hungry to fight. Whether she maybe only wants the fight if it's going to be in Dublin, I'm not sure yet. I think it'll be a very, very entertaining fight. Katie Taylor, she's fought some exceptional fighters, and this will just add to her unbelievable resume. Alright, we've had some rankings change. Now, Hamza Sheeraz has replaced Jamal Charlo as the number 1 ranked super middleweight by WBC, and the newly number 1 ranked welterweight for the WBC is Manny Pacquiao. Yeah, I think Hamza Sheeraz, he's just taken off, hasn't he? Lots of question marks after Carlos Adames. I had my question marks. I wasn't sure what we were going to see from him. I was disappointed in the way in which he fought Carlos Adames. He definitely lost that fight. The record books don't show that, but he most definitely lost that fight. And he came back, made a statement in the backyard of a big hitting New Yorker, and all of a sudden, Hamza Sheeraz. I'm talking about Hamza Sheeraz the way I'm talking about Pacheco and Mbili in talking who gets Canelo next. If you were to ask me right now today, who would I put Canelo in against right now, I think it would be Sheeraz. Probably Sheeraz, Mbili, then Pacheco. I know Pacheco has an outstanding record. He's still very young. The reason I put Sheeraz and Mbili before it because I wasn't that impressed with Pacheco on that BAM card. I thought Mbili earlier in the year, he got a very quick knockout, if I remember correctly. I don't remember the guy's name. Sulechi was against Sulechi. He knocked him out. And Hamza Sheeraz, I mean, we've all seen what Hamza Sheeraz did. And the fact is, rankings are one thing. He's now got the ranking, but more importantly, it's the hype. Do people want to see you? Canelo's only going to fight someone that can hype it up. Canelo needs and wants big money fights. And if you go through those three names, if you ask just a boxing casual who's going to tune in to watch Canelo, and you ask him who do you want to see, unfortunately, and Billy doesn't hold that name. Pacheco, I don't think holds that name. What Sheeraz has just done on that big card in New York, he now holds that name, and the Brits will get behind him. So, very, very exciting for Hamza Sheeraz. Manny Pacquiao, of course, he's going to be number one. I don't really care about him being number one. The fact is, he was in a title fight and got a draw. In any other circumstance, you're the number one contender. The reason it's contentious and the reason that nobody likes it is because probably shouldn't have been number 5 in the first place. And I think we're seeing just no depth at all in that welterweight division. Welterweight, a once very, very, very great division over many decades. It's just not there anymore, is it? Like, who do we want to see at welterweight that is an extraordinary fighter that's really starting to break the molds? I know that there are big names. I'm not going to discount your Devin Haney's. I think Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney are the two best. I actually think Conor Benn is up there. Mario Barrios hasn't really made me think, wow. Rolly Romero, I think's all right, but I never thought he'd be a world champion in a stacked welterweight division. I mean, he beat a very poor on the night Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, another person we just don't know what we're going to get. I think Paddy Donovan and Lewis Crocker, they're two big names. I think Donovan's the better one. But it's not the most action-packed one, and I think that's why we're seeing someone like Manny Pacquiao be able to make a run at it. Let's put Manny Pacquiao one division higher, and he's swimming with sharks everywhere. Honestly, I think that's the difference. And if we just go off recency, let's not go off what they could become or what they thought of, because although they're big names, what makes Ryan Garcia a great welterweight, a Rolly Romero, Mario Barrios? I mean, Mario Barrios has had 2 fights, Abel Ramos and Manny Pacquiao, and he's really not astonished in either, and he struggled against 2 people he probably should have beat, well, a good champion would have. We're going to see Paddy Donovan in his rise. I believe he's going to win. I think he screwed himself over in the first one because he was ahead in that one, and I think he would have gone on to win it. Just not the most filled division. All right, last few bits of news. Jarrell Miller is now going to be facing Michael Hunter. This comes after a few days ago. Jared Anderson, he pulled out of the Jarrell Miller fight. I think it's a good fight. I would probably back Jarrell Miller to win it, but I think it can be a tough fight. I think it depends what Jarrell Miller we see. But I think he should be able to knock over Michael Hunter. No offense to him. Another big piece of news that I did want to talk about was Boxer. Now, I spoke a few weeks ago when Joshua Buatsi, he didn't end a contract, but his contract came to the end, and he declined an offer to re-sign with Boxer in favour of Queensberry Promotions. Boxer have made a big move here. Now, they've announced a BBC deal, which, to be honest, I'm not going to be able to give you the best description of it. I'm not exactly 100% sure on the British television system. Obviously, living in Australia, the TV systems and the networks are very different to how they run in the UK. But from what I can gauge, it'll be much like their Sky Sports one, with lots of their fights being on free-to-air primetime TV. If that is the case, and somebody I'm definitely sure will let me know in the comments if I am right, and if I'm wrong, please let me know so I can clarify. But if that's true and they're going to have probably, maybe or maybe not pay-per-views, but definitely prime-time TV, free-to-air people in the UK, I think that's a great bit of business. When you don't have probably the biggest stable of powerful names where you can compete with Matchroom or Queensberry, putting it on prime time free to air is a great move, because all your athletes are going to get viewers of casuals, and those fighters are going to get their name heard. People that just sort of watch it casually, they're on their TV, there's no football on, there's a bit of boxing on, they switch it on, they watch it, and then in 4 or 5 months' time there's another event and they're watching it again and they're seeing the same names. They grow these names, they grow popularity in a way in which you can target a different audience to possibly the ones that Matchroom Queensbury do on the subscription of DAZN, if that makes sense. So I think it's a very good deal for Boxer. I wasn't sure what he was going to do after that Sky Sports contract had finished, but we're gonna see now. Would I've liked to have seen it on DAZN? Selfishly for me, probably, because I'm not sure how I'm going to access these events in Australia as easy as I can on the DAZN. But in terms of for boxing and British boxing, I think it's a good move. I don't think there was a need to have to jump on DAZN. They've already got Golden Boy, Matchroom Queensbury. I'm not sure where Top Rank are going. You've got PBC on Amazon. I like it mixed around, shared around, have a bit of competition, have different events going, different people trying to put on the best event. If everybody's working sort of almost together on DAZN, and there's no competition, nobody trying to outwork each other, you could maybe see a decline in quality off the basis of, well, we've monopolized the market. The boxing that we give you is the boxing you're going to get. Whereas this allows for a bit more. So I think it is good for boxing and boxing fans. I know Boxer at the moment isn't the highest pinnacle of boxing promotions, but it is another boxing promoter that has been able to snatch some names over the years and still does hold some names. All right. Last bit of thing I do want to talk about, because I didn't actually make a video a few days ago, and that was I made a video originally talking about the Quelo card that had Pamplona that was put on in Libya. I do want to just talk about the results of that fight. Well, those two fights, the main card, because Quelo put on an absolute show, and Ramirez, he did his work as well. So let's start with talking about Mirko Quelo now. He took on Sergio Rios Jimenez, undefeated 19-0 fighter. And Mirko Quelo, he showed what a talent he is. He's now, 24 years old? 24 years old, 16 wins, 13 knockouts. He dispatches of Jimenez within 2 rounds, batters him. First round was definitely trying to get into it. Second round, he drops him once with a big hit to the head, and then runs in, and just a great hook to the liver, and that was all she wrote. So another good win for Quelo, building and building and building. It's not going to be long at all. It could be his next fight that we see him in a title fight. The other fight that we saw was Jerome Pampelone taking on Albert Ramirez. This is probably the fight that I'm going to talk about a bit more, because to be honest, the Quelo one was just Quelo showing how good he was. I mean, it was fast work, light work for him, and he showed what a superstar he's going to be. I want to see him in bigger fights now, because I think he's going to hold it own, and we're going to really see what the kid's made of. But this one here, this one surprised me. Now, I spoke in the preview that I thought Jerome Pampelone was going to cause Albert Ramirez problems, but Ramirez should be able to get the win. This fight reminded me so much of almost Justice Hooney versus Fabio Wardley, in the sense that I thought Jerome Pampelone, for the first five and a half rounds, give or take maybe one round, I can't remember it exactly, it was a few days ago, but for most of it that I saw, and what I gauged and what I can remember now, was the first 5.5 rounds, Pampelone was just outboxing Ramirez. Movement, in and out, hitting him and avoiding all those big shots that we know Ramirez delivers. And I thought Pampelone is outboxing this guy, and Ramirez can't hit him with something. And the longer it was going, I was like, Ramirez is doing almost less and less, and he's landing less and less, and Pampelone's really getting into a groove. Come round 6, and we basically saw what Justice Hooney did. He got comfortable. He tried to, for some reason, trade with him. They both simultaneously throw big overhand rights. Pampelone puts his head right in the line. Whereas if you look at what Ramirez does, he throws the punch and moves out the way. Ramirez one lands. Pamplona goes down late in the 6th round, survives it. Goes down twice in the 7th round. Ramirez just hits the gas. He knows this fight's just about over. Drops him twice. The towel comes in, and that's the fight. Albert Ramirez, he now goes to 21-0, and I think the big news for that fight was must have been about 12 or 14 hours before the fight. I do have the quote here. How long ago was it? Yeah, it was about 16 hours before the fight or whatever. Because the weights had been done, the presser had been done, so it was very, very close to the event starting, and the fight was upgraded to a WBA interim world title in the light heavyweight division. So all of a sudden, that fight had a lot on the line, and I thought Pamplona was going to do it. Obviously, I'm an Aussie fan. I was definitely rooting for Pamplona. I don't mind Albert Ramirez. I think he's a very, very good fighter. I do think he was found out in that fight, but he found a way and is now the light heavyweight title holder and interim. That is what next for each. Pamplona, the record's not great now. The record's not great. Losses to Conor Wallace, Albert Ramirez, and Malik Zinad in his 3 of his last 4 fights. And the only fight that was outside of that was a Thai fighter that he beat in the 1st round, and the guy he was fighting had a record of like 30 wins, 30 losses, or something around there. I do feel for Pamplona because I think he is this close, this close, and I mean that sincerely. He loses a majority decision to Zinad, who goes on to fight Bivol. He loses split decision to Conor Wallace, very, very close fight. In that fight, one of the judges actually gave it 1 round to Pamplona, and I think the other 2 gave it 2 rounds to Wallace, something around there. And then I believe he outboxed Ramirez for 5 rounds there, looking very, very good, got comfortable and got caught against a big power hitter in which you can't fall asleep. You have to box perfectly. Doesn't have to be the most world-class display of boxing. You've just got to keep your concentration and keep moving and keep boxing. And for 1 second he turned off, and that was the fight. Albert Ramirez, though, he's got the power. There's no doubt about that. And I think we're going to have the same problem with him as we do with some of these fighters like Fabio Wardley. I have my doubts about as well. And it's that light heavyweight division, you've got to destroy some monsters if you want to be a world champion. We're talking Benavidez, we're talking Bivol, we're talking Peterbiev, Anthony Yard is up there, Callum Smith. We've got these fighters in which all of those basically are high activity fighters, great boxers, especially Bivol. He's an outstanding technical boxer. If you're being outboxed by Pamplona, no offense to Pamplona, because I do enjoy watching him fight, but if you're being outboxed by Pamplona, what Bivol's going to do to you is disgusting, because he's that good. What Peterbiev's going to do is outlandish. Yeah, we know he's got the power. He can drop you. He can knock you out in 2 rounds. Yeah, that's all well and good, but you've got to be able to land those shots. And against Pamplona, for a very long time, he wasn't able to land much at all. And I think it's almost the same what we saw against Dubois and Usyk. It was, Dubois can win this if he can land the shot, but Usyk's footwork and his boxing IQ, Dubois got nowhere near him. And I think we might see the same problem with Albert Ramirez. Very near future, we're going to find out. Very near future, we're going to find out. But that covers that weekend's boxing. Now, we do have a big weekend of boxing coming this weekend. This is that, what do they call it? Like esports World Cup or some, I don't know what they call it. But in Riyadh, Moses Atauma taking on Dillian Whyte. That is an exciting fight. Obviously, I am very looking forward to Sam Goodman. Obviously, a Sydney kid. I've watched most of his fights. I'm a big fan of his. He's taking on Nick Ball. I'll make probably separate videos. I'll do one specifically for Moses Atauma versus Dillian Whyte, and I'll make one specifically for Nick Ball versus Sam Goodman. One of those I will talk about David Adelaide versus Filip Pogovic, and Raymond Ford versus Abraham Nova. Raymond Ford, if you haven't seen, he's looking in tremendous shape. This card has picked up steam. When it was first announced, not a lot of hype. I think the hype is real right now. I think it's a great card. I think it is pay-per-view, but it's a very good card. I think when you look at that card, there's obvious favourites. Moses Atauma is favourite to beat Dillian Whyte. Nick Ball, no doubt, is favourite to beat Sam Goodman. Raymond Ford will be favourite to beat Abraham Nova. Filip Hrgović, I think, will be closer favourite to the rest of them against David Adelaide. But I think they're all interesting fights. I can see Filip Hrgović or Adelaide winning. I probably can't see as much Abraham Nova beating Raymond Ford, but I'm sure it'll still be a good fight. Nick Ball is the favourite, but he's versing an undefeated Sam Goodman that looked very, very good in his last few bouts. When he fought Cesar Espinoza not so long ago, I thought he was very, very good. And Sam Goodman's hungry. He wants this fight. Was unfortunate with the Inui events, but look, he's going up a division. He's got a tough task ahead of him. And I know Sam Goodman, he's a little fighter. That guy is going to give Ball definitely a run for his money. And what Dillian Whyte looks like right now has surprised a lot of people. Look, I'm going to get into all of this in depth later in the week. Moses Atauma, from everything we're hearing and everything that people believe, should win this fight. But Dillian Whyte, he's not an easy task. Not an easy task at all. So definitely tune in during the week. Subscribe if you are new. Like the video. Leave your thoughts about everything we talked about in the comments below. And I'm out of here, guys. See ya!